Welcome back to Mentoring Maya. In Episode 3, we broke down the architecture of tumor forms and recess design to map out efficacy. Today, we shift our focus to patient safety. Oncology trials generate a high volume of adverse events, often presenting with complex toxicity profiles that require constant oversight. Because of the aggressive nature of oncology drugs, patients require continuous safety monitoring throughout the duration of the trial. These events routinely force investigators to make rapid dose modifications or execute temporary treatment interruptions. Your AE design functions as a high-visibility, high-risk structural component that anchors the safety database. If your AE structure is weak, the resulting safety data becomes unreliable and will fail regulatory scrutiny. Our objective today is to build an eCRF aligned with the Common Terminology Criteria for Adverse Events, or CTCAE, to guarantee data integrity. Getting this design right protects the critical pillar of your entire study, the safety of the patient. Before placing a single field, we must establish the CTCCAE as our mandatory baseline. It provides a standardized terminology and a universal grading scale to measure clinical severity from grade 1 up to grade 5. This diagram shows a core AE data structure being built onto an empty eCRF wireframe, starting with the AE term and the start and end dates. These base variables are joined by mandatory fields for the outcome of the event and its causality to the study drug. In the grade field, we apply the principle of controlled interpretation. Here, a free text box is replaced by a rigid drop-down menu. Allowing users to type out severity as free text invites variation across trial sites, creating a regulatory whisk. The system forces a selection from these 5 specific options, locking the input strictly to the CTCCAE grades. Depending on study complexity, integrate guided descriptions or tooltips directly into the form to help site personnel verify grading choices. This core structure ensures every variable captured is structured, consistent, and ready for regulatory submission at the moment of entry. Mapping your architecture directly to the CTCAE standard eliminates ambiguity from your safety data. A frequent error in database design is treating severity and seriousness as the exact same variable. This diagram illustrates the split. Severity on the left measures the physical intensity, mapped to CTCAE grades. Seriousness on the right is a regulatory threshold, asking a binary yes or no question. Did the event result in death, hospitalization, or a life-threatening condition? A patient might experience a grade 4 toxicity that is clinically severe, but without triggering a specific regulatory criterion, it isn't officially serious. When that seriousness toggle is switched to yes, the database immediately triggers a unique, locked workflow for serious adverse event reporting. This expanded section captures the additional data required for SAEs, forcing the user to identify the exact seriousness criteria, such as a prolonged hospitalization. Keeping these variables entirely separate is essential for running automated safety reconciliation between your clinical and safety databases. If you conflate these paths, your data managers will face a massive manual reconciliation effort, untangling severity grades from SAE reports line by line. By structuring them as parallel pipelines, the system can send immediate regulatory alerts for serious events without polluting the clinical grading data. Isolating these two concepts at the field level prevents costly data cleaning errors during trial closeout. Beyond definitions, adverse event data is time-sensitive. The database must enforce strict temporal logic. In this timeline, the system validates the start date, ensuring an event cannot be placed before informed consent or trial enrollment. The system also requires an edit check for the end date. A validation error appears if the end date occurs before the start date. For events that haven't resolved, the design needs an ongoing status checkbox, so the condition is tracked through subsequent follow-up visits. The action taken field acts as a relational bridge between safety and drug exposure. When a severe adverse event occurs, it routinely leads directly to a dose reduction or a treatment interruption. The architecture connects the action taken field on the AE form directly to the corresponding exposure tracking or dose modification form. This sequence is further clarified by capturing causality, the standardized assessment of whether the event was related to the study drug. These temporal linkages allow biostatisticians to conduct accurate risk-benefit analysis at the end of the trial, mapping toxicity directly to drug delivery. Good AE design respects these time relationships, connecting isolated data points to provide a clear chronological view of patient safety. We now have a robust adverse event architecture. This diagram shows the completed structure, resolving those common error zones by eliminating free text, separating stingiousness from severity, and applying strict date logic. The core principles remain constant: align strictly with the CTCAE, enforce structured inputs, and keep your variables cleanly separated. While the back-end validation is rigorous, the front-end interface remains intuitive for the site personnel entering this data. Precise safety data is non-negotiable for regulatory success. In our next episode, we move into dose and exposure design. We will explore how to track treatment administration and connect it directly to the safety foundations we have just built. Continue